experimented and added to the ability to fly little by little. Some found out.
And little by little, $5 here, $10 here, $15 there, I ended up raising $31,000.
But little by little, you see governments then
able to understand it so much right now, but how to tell him little by little so that he can let me get more time, because
yeah, and I just don't really feel it anymore, you know, little by little by little.
That's awesome. So it's almost like you.
Every time I was pregnant, my eyes would hemorrhage, and little by little I would lose eyesight with each pregnancy.
Little by little, it gets colder, until eventually it approaches absolute zero. Now, if you use the right kind of atom,
instruct democracy to purify its mores, to substitute little by little the science of affairs for its inexperience.
but even if we can make small strides, little by little, it can have an enormous impact.
Occur little by little over time. And so that little
Petit petit oiseau fainishly, little by little the bird builds its nest.
And thus, little by little, Gelmídez's Romanesque legacy became hidden under a modern Baroque cover. But the metamorphosis was...
And I noticed little by little, as we were having conversations,
wanting to have an honest conversation, and then little by little it began to become clear that something else was happening.
So, what other form?
Little by little, the hunter moves the head of its prey into a position which makes it possible to begin swallowing.
Under control of the Pope. In fact, for centuries, the Pope was called the King Pope. Little by little, the King Pope built his own.
We start to add little bits of clay, and little by little, this sculpture just evolves into this grand anatomy of the...
Little by little, new arrivals reach the bottom of the waterfall, and soon it is...
And then, little by little, things will happen. I cannot measure the effect of this poem or any poem on the world.
So little by little, neighborhood by neighborhood, block by block.
And then little by little it starts simmering, and then there's a certain point where it feels that the form has got to be made.
To solve the problems little by little, and that's it.
I think you're right.
Won't give you what you want right away, but little by little. Small advantages become big advantages, consistent.
And then it was taken off little by little as the arts are happening. Amy, give us some practical advice.
That's fine. But you must allow them to express themselves little by little. And even when they have a really dumb...
chip away at that little by little. But, I'm just...
Farmers pay us little by little over time, covering most of our expenses. And then we surround all that.
Little by little, it gets colder, until eventually...
And then, little by little, do that on, but competing with...
Then I became a classic deaf person myself. Little by little, I lost my hearing and refused to admit that I had.
The sound of the gong marks the rhythm of the ceremony, and little by little the atmosphere becomes more solemn.